Hello and a very warm welcome to all on Game On. I'm Meha Bhardwaj-Alter, and now that the IPL is done and dusted, it's time to shift our focus to the ICC Men's T20 World Cup in the USA and Caribbean. Modern cricket gives you very little time off. Just imagine the 50-over World Cup where India lost in the final to Australia and Ahmedabad was just 6 months ago. And now here we are, within days of the IPL finishing, we're looking ahead to the T20 World Cup that starts on the 2nd of June. But this edition is going to be bigger than any other, with 20 teams vying for the trophy for the first time. Today, we tell you all that you need to know about the tournament. In this edition of the World Cup, 20 teams are divided in 4 groups, with each group comprising of 5 teams. Let's give a breakdown of the groups. In Group A, it is India, Ireland, Pakistan, USA and Canada. That's right. So the big game will be between India and Pakistan. That will be played on the 9th of June. In Group B, it is Australia, England, Namibia, Oman and Scotland. Australia, the current 50-over champions, and England, the current T20 World Cup champions, are in that group together. Let's take a look at Group C, where Afghanistan are there along with New Zealand, Uganda, PNG and West Indies. Then in Group D, Bangladesh, Nepal, Netherlands, South Africa and Sri Lanka are in that group, and in all probability it will be South Africa and Sri Lanka. But this is going to be an interesting group because there is Bangladesh as well. So who will be the top 2 teams that will qualify for the Super 8s? If you're wondering what the format is, how does the tournament work? Here we go. The 20 teams are separated in 4 groups of 5 in the first stage, with each team playing a minimum of 4 matches against their other group members during that initial group stage. The top 2 sides from each group then progress to the Super 8 stage of the tournament, with the bottom 3 teams from each group eliminated. The remaining 8 teams are then split into another 2 groups during the Super 8 phase, with sides to play 3 matches against their group rivals to determine the semi-finalists. The semi-finalists will be played out between semi-finals will be played out between the top 2 teams from each Super 8's group, with the winners then progressing to the one-off final, which will be played in Barbados on 29th of June. So there you have it. That's the format. What about the venues? It's the first time that any Cricket World Cup matches will be held in the USA. That's right. A total of 3 venues in the USA and 6 in the Caribbean will be used during the duration of the tournament. 16 matches to be held in Lauderhill, Dallas and New York. And the blockbuster clash between India and Pakistan, that's scheduled for the new Nassau County International Cricket Stadium in Long Island on 9th of June. 41 matches will be played in the Caribbean across 6 different nations, with semi-finals in Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana, before the title decider scheduled to be played at the Kensington Oval in Barbados on the 29th of June. Now that you know the venues, let's also tell you the schedule for India. Team India will begin their World Cup campaign against Ireland on 5th of June at that Nassau County International Cricket Stadium in New York, followed by the much-awaited clash against arch-rivals Pakistan on 9th of June at the same venue. So mark your calendars. The biggest game of that World Cup before the final is that game between India and Pakistan, and that will be on 9th of June. India will then play the USA on 12th of June. That's again at the same venue. And then they play Canada on June 15th, and that will be played in Florida, in Lauderhill, Florida. India will play their only World Cup warm match against Bangladesh on 1st of June in New York, where they also play their 3 league games. Now, India will play the 3 of their 4 games at New York, in the New York Cricket Stadium, and 1 in Lauderhill in Florida. Let's also refresh your memory. with who all made it to the Indian squad for the World Cup. The Indian team will be led by Rohit Sharma. The 36-year-old will be supported by Hardik Pandya as his deputy. And Pandya will need to put the disappointment of the IPL behind and focus on his batting and bowling in the tournament, because if India are to do well, they will need Hardik Pandya to be at his best. There is Yashasvi Jaiswal in form Virat Kohli, the best T20 batter in the world Suryakumar Yadav, two wicketkeeper batters in Rishabh Pant and Sanju Samson. Both have been brilliant in the IPL. Then the big hitting Shivam Dube gets a chance to show what he can do. He's been rewarded for his excellent batting and his six-hitting ability in the middle overs. He can be included in the lower middle order. Then there is Ravindra Jadeja and Akshar Patel, two spin all-round options for the Indian team, both able to change the game single-handedly on their day. Pace attack comprises of Jasprit Bumrah, Arshdeep Singh, Mohammad Siraj. You already saw there were two specialist spinners in Kuldeep Yadav and Yuzvendra Chahal. They complete the squad. Then there is Shubman Gill, there is Rinku Singh and Khalil Ahmed, Avesh Khan. They are the travelling reserves who can be added to the squad in case a player is injured or has to return home due to some kind of an emergency. So those are your four travelling reserves. They've gone with the Indian team. Now, in fact, a group of Indian players have arrived in the United States to participate in the World Cup. The Indian captain, Rohit Sharma, pace spearhead Jasprit Bumrah, Rishabh Pant, Akshar Patel, Suryakumar Yadav and a few others departed for the US earlier on Saturday. The players whose teams had not qualified, in fact, for the playoffs in the IPL have reached, whereas players like Sanju Samson, Yashasvi Jaiswal, who were in qualifier 2, or someone like a Rinku Singh, who played the final, obviously, they will be joining the team later. But there you can see the Indian captain. He is already arrived in, he's arrived in New York. Coach Rahul Dravid. A lot of talk around who is going to take over from Rahul Dravid. But as of now, there is no certainty. According to the reports now, Orange Cap winner Virat Kohli, he sought permission to join the squad late. And Hardik Pandya, who's been under the spotlight throughout the IPL for his captaincy and his form, was vacationing abroad after a dismal season with Mumbai Indians. And he will join the team directly in time for the first practice session in New York. Former England captain Owen Morgan has called the men in blue the strongest side and favourites to win the T20 World Cup title. India last won the T20 World Cup in 2007, which was the inaugural edition under MS Dhoni's leadership. Morgan said, and I quote, "For me, the strongest side, even with injuries, is India without doubt. Their strength and depth is absolutely incredible at the moment. Look at the players who missed out in the squad of 15 because of the quality that they possess as well. They haven't won since that first T20 World Cup. They are favourites for me. The quality that they have on paper, they can beat anybody." Now, Indian wicketkeeper batter Rishabh Pant has already reached New York. But before he went, he opened up about the unbearable pain and insecurities that he felt after the life-threatening accident in December 2022. Pant, who's making a comeback in the Indian team after a gap of 1.5 years, had miraculously cheated death. But the injuries required a major knee surgery and an extensive rehab. In a talk show hosted by Shikhar Dhawan, this is what he said. He said, and I quote, "Self-belief and self-confidence are very important while recovering from an injury, because there are people saying all sorts of things around you, and you as an individual have to think about what's good for you. The accident was a life-changing experience for me. When I got up after it, I wasn't even sure if I would be alive. But God was very kind to save me. I couldn't even brush my teeth for 2 months, and for 6 to 7 months I suffered with unbearable pain. I couldn't go to the airport because I was nervous about facing people in a wheelchair." The 26-year-old, though, has returned to action in the IPL and, where he led Delhi Capitals. And not just that, we saw him in good form. He scored 446 runs at a strike rate of 155.40. So he has put that accident behind him, and hopefully he'll do well for the Indian team in the upcoming World Cup. On to football now. Euro 2024 is just around the corner, and If there's one team that will be desperate for a turnaround given the success they've seen, having won 4 World Cups and 3 Euros, it's host Germany. They have not won a European Championship since 1996, and what could be better than to create history in front of their adoring home fans? All eyes are on the German football team ahead of Euro 2024 as they kicked off their training camp in the town of Jena. Host Germany have won the tournament 3 times, but the last time they held the Euro trophy was way back in 1996, and they would be hoping to create some magic in front of their home fans. The build-up had been far from perfect, but coach Julian Nagelsmann looks to have found a winning formula. And in 6 games in his tenure, they have statement victories over France and Netherlands to instill a belief that they can be among the title contenders. The German sports director and former international Rudi Völler also believes the team has shown signs of real improvement.
A very important key moment a few weeks ago at the last 2 international friendly matches, we all noticed that and realized how after 3.5 months under Nagelsmann, after the 2 defeats against Turkey and Austria, where the mood was naturally really low, but thanks to these 2 last victories and convincing wins, we naturally had a lot more optimism within our inner circle, Völler said. We don't need to freak out now that everything is working well, but we should have healthy degree of optimism, he said, sitting next to the Germany coach.
The Germans have not won any significant international titles since their World Cup title triumph in 2014. They crashed out in the first round of the last 2 editions of the FIFA World Cup and did not make it past the round of 16 in the last European Championship 3 years ago. As the Germans gun for their 4th European Champions crown, including the 2 won by West Germany in 1972 and 1980, head coach Julian Nagelsmann is trying to diffuse the pressure of expectations while playing at home.
In the end, it's a big event, but it's also just football, in quotation marks. It's supposed to be fun, it's supposed to be entertaining, it's supposed to be fun for you, it's supposed to be fun for us, and that's what it's all about. I've often said that we don't want to be paralyzed by any kind of pressure because it's about something beautiful that we are allowed to do, and where lots of people are watching who will hopefully be enthusiastic about our football and to enjoy this moment, to savor every moment. When we are allowed to do what gives us all so much pleasure, that should always be our top priority.
Over 15,000 fans turned out to watch the team practice on Monday. The preliminary squad, although, is far from complete for their first training schedule, with players from domestic double winners Bayer Leverkusen yet to join the camp. The Germans, who opened their tournament against Scotland, also face Hungary and Switzerland in Group A. They also have 2 friendlies before the tournament against Ukraine on 3rd June and Greece on 7th June. They are the most successful side in UEFA Champions League history, and the newly crowned La Liga champions Real Madrid know how to win big games. But they are up against a team who've turned out to be the biggest giant killers this season, Borussia Dortmund. They've beaten teams like PSG, AC Milan and Newcastle to get to this point. So expect them to put up an intense fight against Carlo Ancelotti's boys. Real Madrid, if their coach is to be believed, are in the Champions League mode, and their manager wants them to enjoy the moment. This is Ancelotti's 6th Champions League final as a coach, his 3rd final with Madrid, and the Italian believes his players have the experience to cope with the emotions involved. Real star Jude Bellingham, former Borussia's midfielder, said the final was a fairy tale kind of ending to a great season and recognized it would be a bit emotional for him. The 20-year-old has already enjoyed a hugely successful debut season in Spain, scoring 19 goals to help get Madrid to the La Liga title. After a brilliant season, both Bellingham and teammate Vinicius Jr. have been named as possible Ballon d'Or candidates if Madrid win the Champions League.
It's a bit of a fairy tale kind of ending to a great season, you know, being back home in England, playing against Dortmund. Obviously, a lot of factors for me that can make it perhaps a little bit emotional, but I think for the game I have to try and take that out of it and focus on the absolute plan of the game as opposed to the other little things. And yeah, this week building up to it will help that to calm everything. And yeah, I'm just grateful to be here. I don't pick the team, and I certainly don't make the transfers, but you know, Kylian Mbappe, what a player. You know, who wouldn't want to play with someone as good as him? I don't want to kind of put any more pressure on the situation. I know for him it's probably difficult having everyone always talking about him, but would be really nice.
Cristiano Ronaldo capped his full Saudi Pro League season in style as he broke the record for the most goals scored in one campaign on Monday. The 39-year-old Portugal football icon scored a brace in his side's 4-2 win over Al Ittihad on the final match day to bring his league tally this season to 35 goals. The previous record was held by former Al Nassr forward and Moroccan international Abdezak Hamdallah, who scored 34 goals in 2018 and 2019. After the match, Ronaldo said, and I quote, "I don't follow the records follow me." Ronaldo has scored 64 goals in 69 games for Al Nassr in all competitions since joining on a free transfer from Manchester United in January 2023. The win meant Al Nassr finished second on the table for the second successive season, 14 points behind champions Al Hilal, 17 clear of the third place Al Ahly. Ronaldo now has scored 765 goals in a 22-year career, which has also included spells with Sporting Lisbon, Manchester United, Real Madrid and Juventus. He also holds the men's record for international goals with 128 from 206 appearances for Portugal. On to tennis now, and Rafael Nadal crashed to his earliest exit at the French Open on Monday after a 6-3, 7-6, 6-3 first-round defeat to fourth seed Alexander Zverev, with fans wondering if the 14-time champion will return to the Grand Slam he's ruled for 2 decades. The 22 times major champion, who won the Musketeers Cup for the first time in 2005 and last raised the trophy in 2022 before a serious hip injury derailed his career, had previously said this year could be his final one on the tour. Having returned to the tournament that he skipped in 2023 and refusing to confirm any farewells ahead of his opener, Nadal showed flashes of top form on court Philippe Chatrier, but the 37-year-old ultimately went down fighting. Victory meant Zverev became only the third man to beat Nadal at Roland Garros after Novak Djokovic and Robin Soderling, with the German banishing memories of his retirement due to an ankle injury when the duo last met in the 2022 semi-finals. This is what Nadal said about returning to Paris in July for the Olympic Games. He said, and I quote, "I cannot tell you if I will be or not will be in 1 month and a half because, my body has been a jungle for 2 years, so and you don't know what to expect. I wake up one day and I found a snake biting me, another day a tiger. It has been a big fighting with all the things that I went through. I can't say anything today, but my main goal now is to play the Olympics." He also added about his retirement, he said, "I'm not saying I'm retiring today. You know how I'm passionate about sport. I'm passionate about competition. I'd like to practice and I'd like to play tennis. I'm in a different moment of my personal life too, traveling with my son, wife, and I'm enjoying these moments that will not come back. So if I keep enjoying doing what I'm doing, I feel myself competitive and healthy enough to enjoy. I want to keep going for a while. I don't know for how long, but I want to keep going for a while because they are having fun, I'm having fun, and I need to see and give myself a little bit of a longer chance to see if my level is growing and my body is holding. And then I'll make a decision. But give me 2 months till Olympics, and then let me see if I'm able to keep going, or I'll say, okay, guys, it's more than enough." Right, then we've come to the end of this bulletin. But as we go, we leave you with these fun visuals. Enthusiastic participants in Key West, Florida raised homemade boats in the 33rd annual Schooner Wharf Minimal Regatta. Spectators, as you can see, cheered as competitors navigated their vessels towards the finish line in trying to avoid overturning and sinking. And it looks like that Titanic is about to sink, and it just did. The boats made from plywood and duct tape couldn't use caulking but encouraged creative costumes. The event showcased imaginative vessels, as you can see.
Give it up for that talented team of artists that drunken through on the left hand.
That's a pirate ship. I'm wondering if that was Johnny Depp on it. Jokes aside, that's the end of this show. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.
Why is the state not looking at putting an embargo on that?
As a Telangana person, I will not accept.
How do ordinary folks deal with this?
जानना है तो देखिए, समझना है तो सुनिए, सीखना है तो पूछिए, और कमाना है तो खरीदिए। जानकारी, सलाह और निवेश सब एक ही सुपर ऐप पर। पैसे का सवाल है तो जवाब है मनी 9। आजादी पैसे की, अभी डाउनलोड करें।
Healthy mind can reside only in a healthy body.
That is the only cure for the restless mind.
Happiness is a choice.
The fastest way to be happy is to make somebody else happy.
World premiere